Sarah,
What?
are you excited to visit America?
I cannot wait.
Well, if that's the case, I have a special video. 25 common misconceptions about America that simply aren't true.
What are those?
That's a great question, but before we go into that, say hello to our friends.
Hi guys.
My friends, thank you so much for all the support. We really appreciate that. That said, Sarah, ask them for the most important thing.
Guys, leave a like, thumbs up.
And if they subscribe,
You make our day.
that's right. Link below. Let's go into this.
The United States often draws a lot of flack from the rest of the world for everything.
Honestly, kinda true. And kinda unfair.
From its foreign policy to the way it runs its domestic affairs. In fact, it seems like there are few things that can divide the world more evenly and more strongly than asking people what their opinion is of the United States. Everyone has an opinion. Even in the
Honestly, you know what? I think a lot of people hate on America because humans tend to hate the number one. You know what I'm saying? When you are at the top, you always get a lot of attention and with that a lot of hate.
Yes.
And I think America suffers with that. Not that Americans care, but I
Exactly.
think this is true.
same city, you'll meet people who fall on the extreme sides of the spectrum. But what is it exactly that causes America to be so messed up? Even America's own politicians can't seem to stop talking about how messed up things are. Well, today we're going to take a deeper look. Are things really as bad as everyone seems to think they are? I'm Mike with List25, and these are 25 common misconceptions about the United States that simply aren't true. And as a very important note, this list was produced by both a United States citizen and 2 European citizens that relocated to the United States.
Wait, what? This list is made, okay, with one American but with 2 Europeans?
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't expect that.
My friends, we have to fact check those.
It's written to be as fair as possible.
Sure.
No, I'm not 2 Europeans. Or am I?
No, you're not.
All right, let's begin with a really common thought. Americans are ignorant about the world. Americans are held to an unrealistic standard. Since the rest of the world watch our movies and listen to our music, they know a lot about our country.
Exactly.
But let's be honest, they never studied it. People actually complain that Americans don't even know that Czechoslovakia doesn't exist anymore. But neither does half the United Kingdom, and they're on the same continent. It turns out that all of us are pretty bad at geography.
I think this is a fact. Honestly, this thing about Americans having no idea about geography, it's BS. Because I have been reacting to American stuff for a long time. And sometimes I'm the one that feels quite stupid compared with them. Because it's like the same thing. Okay, they may not know where...
Is
I don't know.
Portugal?
Well, I guess where is Portugal?
Yeah.
I mean, no, that they know, I'm sure.
Okay.
But let's say
Now they know.
now they know. Maybe they don't know where is Austria.
Yes,
They
maybe.
probably also know that. Okay, whatever. A random country in Europe. But let's be real. If you ask a friend, hey, a European friend, where is Mississippi in the map?
Yes, we don't know.
They have
exactly.
we don't know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like goes both ways, right?
You'd think America would be better at it, however, considering another common thought is that America spends its days spying on everyone. And that's true, but who doesn't? Germany, France, Switzerland, Japan, Iceland, and all the rest of us spy on each other and ourselves. Moving on, America has been called racist. Please don't take this the wrong way. Racism definitely exists, and it makes the news. But you know what else? America also has a vicious media, and all of the world watches it. Sometimes
Yeah, I'm gonna say something, my friends, and if you disagree, I'm sorry, but I actually believe the media in America is really bad.
It's huge.
It's
Right,
huge,
yeah.
but and I also believe a lot of Americans don't trust the media. The media is bad everywhere nowadays, I feel like. But in America, sometimes I feel like there is different channels, different newspapers that they try to put Americans against each other. It's really bad there, to be fair. My friends, if you disagree, tell me, but I really I mean, there is this, people say fake news for a reason, you know. This started because there is a lot of fake news, actually.
Times more than their own media. So when something super bad happens in
And by the way, this fake news is not a thing just on the right or just in the left. I think this happens in both.
Oh, okay, both sides.
In both sides, yeah.
sometimes more than their own media. So when something super bad happens in other countries, it might not even make the back page.
Exactly.
Next, it's a common misconception that Americans don't use public transport. While it's true that we use cars a lot, many regions in America have great public transport, or at least just as good as Europe. Besides, what good is a train if nobody can afford it? We're looking at you, UK. Moving on. America does slash...
No, but this thing about public transportation, Americans really say this a lot, that the US is very car-centric, you know, you need car for everything. Public transportation here, I would say, is good, yeah, but we also don't use that, so
Yes.
it's kind of irrelevant for us. We also drive, so...
We're looking at you, UK. Moving on. America does slash has slash is fill in the blank. America is far from being a unified entity. Each state has its own laws, cultures, and quirks. Some states have the death penalty. Some don't. Some have strict gun laws, and some don't. Some have free college. Some don't. Some have tax, and yeah, some don't. So just like you can't say Europe is so-and-so, you can't say the same about the US.
Yeah.
As an additional note, the states are far more...
I think, honestly, we tend to think as America, America is one country. The United States is one country, and that's true. But in reality, it's also not true, because since the states are so massive, they follow different laws. You know, Texas is nothing like Washington.
For example, I didn't know that they have states with public
With the good
public college.
public college.
I thought a college.
Everything was private.
Yes,
I don't even know if they have public.
he say that.
Yeah, but he said that, yeah. But it's the first time I see someone saying that there is free college in America, because you know, the thing that they say that they pay a lot.
Exactly,
they have a lot of debt when they came out of college. My friends, there is exceptions in America. Apart, of course, from if you are an amazing athlete, I know they may pay everything for you or something like that.
Scholarship.
Scholarship,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
But apart from that, but maybe that could be true. I just don't know.
You can't say the same about the US. As an additional note, the states are far more independent than many of us realize. In fact, every state even has its own military, known as the Guard.
Oh, okay.
Furthermore, some states pass legislation that directly contradicts the federal government. This is because in the US, the federal government is not the highest authority, the states are.
Yeah, again, not trying to be political here, but a very good example of this, it was a couple of, let's say 1 year ago or 2 years ago, where my friends, correct me if I'm wrong, but Texas wanted to close the border with Mexico, but the government, at the time I believe was Joe Biden, didn't want. So there was this
Okay.
tension between...
So how they decide?
I don't know that well.
to do?
I think at the end of the day, maybe the government has the last word,
Oh, okay.
but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But my friends, you guys probably know how power works in America much better than us.
To further establish the fact that America isn't a single entity, many believe that Americans only speak one language. But that's no different from the rest of the world. Have you ever been to France, or the UK, or Italy, or how about China? Most of them only speak one language too. That being said, over 20% of the US is bilingual.
Oh, okay.
Now, let's talk about the military.
I think, if I had to guess, I would say Spanish, maybe the language that they know. Because there is a lot of, Mexican influence and stuff like that. So,
Because the English are too powerful, I think is the only one.
Yes, yeah. If you know English, my friend, if you had to choose one language to know,
Is
you already
English.
know the
Yeah,
best one.
yeah.
Military, because people outside the US will preach that America's military does, again, fill in the blank. Nobody is naive enough to think that the US doesn't have selfish interests in mind when it invades a country. There isn't a nation on earth that would do that selflessly. But whenever the bad goes down, it's just as common for other countries to complain that America should do something. On a more or less lighter note, Americans are fat. You ever been to the UK lately? There are even scandals because obese patients are getting turned down for surgery. Yes, America does have an obesity problem.
To be fair, the food,
Are very good.
yeah.
But not all citizens are involved in it. I am. A big part of the United States is fairly health conscious and is consistently working to help the overweight population better their lives. Thanks, healthy people. And while we aren't perfect, many complain that America is worse than other developed nations in, well, everything. There are many statistics, child mortality, literacy, etc., where the US falls behind countries like Norway and Iceland. But those statistics are based on averages. In Norway,
And you know what? This drives me crazy. It's so stupid to compare America with those countries.
Yes.
Because America is like 300 or almost 400 million people. Those
Exactly.
countries, they have 5 million people, my friends. It's very different, to
You can't compare.
you can't compare. I mean, it's just
It's
absurd.
ridiculous. Yeah.
It's like picking the best cities in America and
Yeah.
saying those cities are America. Of course, America is more than that, but shut up with that Dinamarca and stuff. Because people really love to use the Nordic countries as an example when,
Yeah.
Norway have a lot of oil also, and people, for example, don't even talk about that.
Norway and Iceland. But those statistics are based on averages. In Norway, most of the 5 million inhabitants are rich, white, and Norwegian. If you took a similar sample of rich, white Americans in the US, you would find that the statistics are almost exactly the same.
Exactly.
The fact is that the US is hugely diverse, and the American experience is completely different with and without money. Translation? The problem isn't healthcare or education, it's economic inequality, almost exclusively. And speaking of inequality, many make the simple
Honestly, these things may shock you, but there is a lot of Americans that love to say America is bad. I mean, at the end of the day, they have that right. But for me, that's the same as, a vegan guy saying that broccoli is bad. Makes no sense. That's the best vegetable. Eat that and shut up.
Yes.
but powerful assumption that America just isn't safe. This is usually what foreign citizens say until they actually come here. By this same logic, Paris, Brussels, London, Madrid, and almost every other city in Europe is unsafe as well. Yes, there are guns, but most Americans have never seen or heard a gun being fired.
Okay.
In fact, most Swiss citizens are much more familiar with gunfire than us Americans.
Yeah.
All this being said,
Did you know this? That Switzerland had a lot of guns.
No.
Yeah, it's an I would say almost exception in Europe, but it's
so far, people still expect all Americans to relish in a life of our stereotypes. Guns, fast food, and freedom! What I'm saying is, a lot of the world looks at America as overly patriotic. But here's an honest question. Have you ever met a Russian, Australian, a proud member of the UK? There's no shame in having pride in your country.
Exactly.
Us Americans are definitely patriotic. But so is the rest of the world.
So what?
As they should be. It's not a crime to be proud of where you came from. But
here I agree with him, but I think Americans are a bit of an exception. They truly are
Yes.
really patriotic, but nothing wrong with that again.
that doesn't stop others from thinking we only complain and boast about America whenever we travel abroad. This is largely anecdotal. In America, Americans like to complain just like the rest of us. Only a few of them ever even leave the country, so you're meeting an unrepresentative sample. But in their defense, many times, they're right. Yes, this can hit hard in the pride spot, but maybe Europeans could stand to smile a bit more, right?
Okay.
Nope.
We try.
Okay, fine. Back to the apathetic, leave me alone face. By the way, that part was written for our European representative. By our European representative. I love all of you.
Thank
Anyways, statistics viewed by outsiders show that the U.S. is lagging behind. Similar to topics we've already discussed, there's another factor that we have to take into account. Reporting. Every nation reports its own statistics. This means that making statistical comparisons between two developed nations, like the US and the UK, is an exercise in futility. The data is just too close and won't reveal much except that the US counts people one way and the US counts them another. That still doesn't make this...
You know what stat that I care? Which country have the biggest economy in the world? Do you know the answer, Sarah?
United States.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Let's continue.
misconception true. Americans are fake. Here's the thing.
Why?
In Europe, citizens are almost proud of the fact that they're really standoffish. But once you get to know them, they're your friend for life. Well,
I think some countries, because Americans are so nice, they don't know how to deal with that. So they think it's
Yes.
people being fake, you know. America, land of the free and also amazing food and amazing people. My friends, look, real talk, I'm coming to America this year. I cannot wait. It's taking so long, but guess what? You can follow me here. André, why is that important? I may post updates about my trip to the US, and also there is a lot of videos that get blocked on YouTube. They may go here. Twitch, maybe not, okay. But I may stream there one day, who knows. But Facebook, Instagram, X, follow me in all of those links below on the description. See you there, my friend, and let's continue with this.
European thinks it's too good to be true.
Yeah, but yeah, Americans are that nice.
here's a newsflash. Once you get to know an American, they'll also be your friend for life. The thing is, though, they don't use this as an excuse to be a jerk in the beginning. This list sounds great coming from an American. I was totally the one who should have read this one, but I digress. On a totally different but very popular misconception, Americans are the only ones who call football soccer.
But they are.
Yes, they are.
Who calls football soccer?
Actually, a lot of the world calls it soccer. Even parts of Ireland
Really?
still call it soccer.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh, what do I mean by still?
No, he said Ireland.
Ireland. Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I have no
okay.
idea about this.
I'm glad you asked. It was actually the British who coined the term soccer.
This I know.
The word soccer is an abbreviation of association and first appeared in universities in the 1880s, sometime using the variant spelled soccer with a K. The word is sometimes credited to Charles Redford Brown, an Oxford University student said to have been fond of shortened forms such as brekkers for breakfast and rugger for rugby football. Britain actually started using the word football in the late 20th century, possibly because people incorrectly saw it as an Americanism. This next one, Tristan couldn't believe. Could you not?
No.
I'm learning something. To our American viewers, did you know that people in Europe make fun of you for using air conditioning? Why do they need it? Why don't they just leave the window open? Mosquitoes? At least in Florida. But here's why they might be joining us soon. During the 2003 European heatwave, 70,000 people died. This was in...
Okay, making fun of Americans.
When you are dying? Really?
But I think it's fair to say that air conditioning is becoming very popular here.
Yes.
New houses, I will not say all of them tend to have, but a lot of them now have air conditioning.
But it's new, right?
It's comparing with America, it's
Yes.
kind of new. I mean, even in the 90s, I knew people that had air conditioning, but now it's becoming quite more mainstream,
common.
more
yeah.
common. Yeah.
Yeah.
in large part due to the fact that European homes and buildings are not typically equipped with air conditioning. While they laugh at the Americans for this, hotter summers are going to force them to take appropriate measures, especially since children and the elderly are very susceptible. Again, I stand by mosquitoes. I'm not opening my window in the summer. Winter, absolutely, open windows. Moving into the top 9, that's the weird number. Top 9. Many parts of the world accuse the United States of accounting for 25% of the world's carbon emissions. Not so nice. But it also accounts for 25% of the world's economic activity. The truth is that several nations, including countries like Canada, have higher per capita emissions than the US. Next, let's talk about how the world thinks Americans are ruining English. Actually, both British English and American English have diverged from a common 16th century ancestral standard, and in some ways, American English is closer to the original than British English.
I speak American. I don't even know that language, English. I speak American, my friend. That's it. Russian, never mind.
For example, American English has, for the most part, retained the language's rotosity, pronunciation of the R in words like hard, while British has, for the most part, dropped it. Furthermore, this shift in British English happened around the time of the American Revolution when wealthier Londoners wanted to distinguish themselves from the lower classes. This is only one example, but it goes to show that British English is not an unchanging standard any more than American English. On a totally different note, did you know that Americans don't all live in the suburbs? Nope, not true. The fact is that in America, you have plenty of people that live in cities like New York, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, Chicago, Boston, and the list goes on.
But those cities are... this, okay, does not shock me, but those cities, they seem so expensive nowadays.
Yes.
If I was living in America, I would prefer the suburbs. But of course, this is true. But we look at prices because we are thinking about going to New York. I know it's a different market, but renting there a
It's
place
so expensive.
is so expensive, my
God.
friend. Crazy, actually.
In fact, several regions of
Actually, for you guys to have an idea, 3 days or 4 days in New York will probably be more expensive for us than 10 days in Texas.
Yes.
It's how bad it is.
Francisco, Chicago, Boston, and the list goes on. In fact, several regions of the United States are very European, like the Northeast Corridor, for example. The difference between the US and Europe is that if you want to live in the suburbs in the US, you can, but you don't have to. Now, this next one is just offensive. American
But here, one thing. This video is a bit old, so I think living in major cities is kind of like it is here in Europe. It's becoming completely impossible for regular people.
Right.
But again, I don't know for sure.
Now, this next one is just offensive. Americans are all dumb rednecks.
Do you know what a redneck is?
No.
Okay, well, friends, actually, I will explain you in a second, but there is a fun video explaining, he's a comedian, I believe, what a redneck is.
Okay. Explain me.
I will explain, but if they live, put a number.
4,000.
Oh my god, it's a lot of likes. Okay, we may never react to that, but if this video gets 4,000 likes, I show that video to Sarah. But basically, a redneck. That's a very complex question, first of all. A redneck is an American that tries crazy things. Normally, they associate rednecks with people that live more in the countryside.
Okay. Because the country work. Right?
Yeah, could be the country work. But if you think about it, redneck is someone that gets a lot of sun in the
Exactly,
in the
because
neck.
you are working in the earth.
But the video explaining this does a great job. So, my friends, we need to get 4,000 likes somehow. Actually, sorry, should be 2. But okay, you said 4,000 is 4,000. But redneck people, funny people also.
There are certainly Americans who fit this stereotype. The vast majority don't. Most Americans live in cities near the coasts. Most of them are...
But the thing is, a country boy, maybe not a redneck, but a lot of times a redneck is a country boy.
Okay.
This is quite difficult, sir.
are educated, and most of them are not very different from Europeans in any significant way.
Actually, let's play this from the beginning, because I feel like we did not pay too much attention.
Just offensive. Americans are all dumb rednecks. While there are certainly Americans who fit this stereotype, The vast majority don't. Most Americans live in cities near the coasts. Most of them are educated, and most of them are not very different from Europeans in any significant way.
But I don't like this explanation from him because that almost makes look people that do not live close to cities them.
Yes.
You know, that's stupid because a lot of people that live in farms and stuff like that are very smart.
Yes,
So,
and good people.
You can be redneck and a smart person. I have no doubt about this.
Every country has a less educated populace that they themselves make fun of. Even sophisticated nations like Sweden and Switzerland. Fair warning, the last 5 on our list get a bit dark and crazy, starting
boy.
with the idea that America is imperialistic.
Yeah, it is a bit. We have to be honest here, my friends. But I mean, it's the empire, so it's kind of like an empire do empire things.
Many parts of Europe, the United States is seen as an aggressive imperial power, even more so than Russia and China. This is largely because our military presence both in Europe and
Yeah, but China is becoming strong, but Russia is not an empire anymore. You know?
everywhere else.
If Russia had the military power that America have, we would be speaking Russian right now. That's the thing. They already think I speak Russian, but
But in our strong defense, Americans never forced you to watch our movies, quarter our soldiers, obey our laws, or get permission to leave your own countries. It was the Russians that did that, and much, much more.
honestly, I think if you put everything in a balance and you try to see is America more good or more bad, personally, more good. I have no doubt about that. If there is a country that should run the world, I think America is a very good candidate for that. Yeah.
Food for thought, after World War II, the Americans liberated and left. The Russians liberated and stayed. All right, number 4 is sure to be a shocker to a lot of foreigners. Americans don't actually all walk around with guns. It's just not true.
No.
Except
Well, there is more guns than people in America. So this, my friends, you have to explain a bit better. The thing is, maybe some people have like 20 guns instead of, and there will be people with 0. And at the end of the day, it's average, right?
for a few places, the only people you'll ever see carrying guns in America are the police. In fact, you'll
Yeah, but I believe there is a chance that in Texas we go to a Walmart and we see guns there.
To buy.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, wow.
That's a crazy culture shock. Yeah.
see more people walking around with guns in Switzerland than you ever would in America.
To be fair, this guy is giving Switzerland as an example all the time.
People walking around with guns in Switzerland than you ever would in America. Okay. We admit that, like most stereotypes, there is some truth to this next one, but it's been wildly blown out of proportion. Americans are all crazy Christian right-wingers. There's something so right about saying it with that accent. Yes, there are a lot of Christians in America, and while some of them are crazy right-wingers, most of them aren't. In fact, if you ever get a chance to go and stay with one of those crazy Christian families, you'll see that most of them are just genuinely sweet people that go to church on Sundays.
Again, I don't even like the way he's putting this. I'm being honest, my friends.
It's normal
Because
to go to the
because
church.
And yes, we are a Christian family,
Yes.
you know. So if you lean right or left, it's a bit irrelevant, you know. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like nowadays religion is portrayed as something bad. I honestly believe that, and I mean, I'm proud to be a Christian. So.
There are a lot of Christians in America, and while some of them are crazy right-wingers, most of them aren't. In fact, if you ever get a chance to go and stay with one of those crazy Christian families, you'll see that most of them are just genuinely sweet people that go to church on Sundays. This next one sounds like a legit stand-up joke. If you get injured and can't pay for it, you'll just die in the street. Yeah, many people.
This is a myth, yeah. But you may get a
Okay.
big bill. I mean, we are going to buy insurance.
But you have to pay.
I mean, imagine you have a big problem. They don't, from what I understand, they don't ask you for anything. They take care of you. Of course, there will be a price after that, but you don't, because there is this idea, if you don't have insurance, you die. I don't think that's totally true, you know. I mean, yes, they work with insurance for healthcare. It is free healthcare, as you guys are free. They will say, you guys pay a lot of taxes, so it's free. It's kind of free, but it's a different system, basically. But this is myth, you know. If you really need help, they will do it. And that's, at the end of the day, the thing that should matter.
You get injured and can't pay for it, you'll just die in the street. Yeah, many people in Europe think this is what happens in America. As with most things that concern America, they're wrong. You can't be denied emergency medical care in the US. That would go against the Hippocratic Oath. Okay. The difference is that you get a bill in the mail a few months later. Of course, debt is another issue, but let's get into that right now. Americans are all in debt. Actually, European citizens carry more debt than Americans. The average household
Wow, I didn't know that, actually.
debt in the US, OECD, is 113% of the household's income. In the UK, it's 156%. In Sweden, 173%. And in Denmark, it's a whopping 305%.
Oh, Denmark? Really? Guess what?
So, what are some misconceptions about the US that you'd like cleared up? Or do you live in America and want to put a stereotype to rest? Let us know in the comments below, or tweet your answer to us at List25. And as an American, I apologize for everything going on right now. Don't worry, 2020 is just around the corner.
2020. So this video was recorded before COVID.
Okay.
COVID. My friend, spoiler from the future, it gets quite crazier after 2019. That said, Sarah, say goodbye to our friends.
Bye, guys.
My friends, thank you so much for watching this with us. See you guys in the next one.